Well, another good day. Went up to the church first thing this morning. Helped out with some stuff, so whatever. After that, went to another counseling session. Went pretty well. There are only a couple of things that my counselor's really concerned about. Nothing super serious. More focused on how I see myself. But I'm not too awful worried about it myself. I know what I am, I know who I am, and who I am isn't really going to change, only what I do. I intend to continue getting better. I don't want to be the same person that did all the bad things that I did. And the things that I did ended up being less caused by who I am and more how I saw my life. So, if you're doing things that are wrong or things that are less than profitable or good, just look at how you perceive yourself and look at how you measure your life. You could just be looking at things the wrong way. And I know there are plenty of people who are going to shake their heads at what I'm saying, and that's fine, whatever. Everybody lives according to their own convictions, and nobody can really understand what you're going through until they go through it. And sometimes, even if they do, they're just going to see it as being different, and to a degree, it's going to be different. But I don't need anybody's forgiveness or acceptance. I need the one that I abandoned almost as soon as everything turned wrong. And the weird thing is I didn't even realize that it was happening. It was like subtle. And I ended up abandoning my faith without even knowing I was doing it, till it got to the point where I had no faith at all. And there's a scripture in the Bible that calls the people of God to come back to their first love, and that's a reference to turning away from your evil ways and returning to God. And that's what I intend to do. I'm trying to get myself back in order, and I know you don't have to go to church to be a good Christian. It's not really about that. I have to have something to use as a yardstick, I guess. Going to church keeps me accountable. Not just for my actions, but for my perception. That helps me to discipline myself spiritually so I can go the direction I'm supposed to go. I'm sure there are plenty of people who think that I don't deserve forgiveness from God and all that. I can only be grateful that God is more patient than they are and more forgiving than they are. And those people should be very grateful that God doesn't measure sin the way they do, and that God does not withhold forgiveness in the same way. You don't punish people for trying to do better. And if you see that they're trying to do better, holding their past against them does no good for you or them. Mind your own business. Work on yourself. That's what people should be doing. Not just the people who disagree with the fact that I'm still breathing, but everyone. Look at yourself and say, how am I sinning? What am I doing that's sinful? And fix it. And if your conclusion is nothing I'm doing is sinful, then you have just exposed probably your greatest sin, the one that rules your life the most, which would be pride. Ego. Which ego in itself is not a sin. It's letting the ego rule you. That's a sin, because that means that you have become your own God, regardless of whose name you claim. Sure, there are atheists that watch these videos, and that's just fine. If you don't believe that there is a God, then don't believe there's a God. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm not even here to convince myself. None of these videos are actually to convince anybody of anything. This is just a chronicle of my journey through separation, divorce, and whatever lies ahead. I mean, shoot, I could be dead by morning and my story will be over. And all of these videos and all the suffering and all the difficulties and all the stupidity will have been for absolutely nothing. And I'm okay with that. I'm just going to continue working like there is a tomorrow. And I'm going to keep praying like there isn't. There's this old saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Hope that tomorrow will be more favorable than today. But be ready just in case it isn't. Tomorrow could be the worst day of your life. And tonight you might be going to sleep completely unprepared because you think tomorrow is going to be just like today. Just prepare yourself for the worst possible outcome. But look forward with the hope that you're wrong. And I went to work later on after a counseling session. I should have just stayed home and taken care of some of my extra personal stuff, because I got absolutely zero work done. None at all. I got there and I was messing around with a headlight on a Victory motorcycle, which they don't even make anymore. And it took me a few hours to come to the conclusion with 100% certainty, because I'd already suspected, but to come to the conclusion with 100% certainty that they were the wrong parts. The previous owner hit a curb, dropped the bike, and messed some stuff up on the headlight assembly, and a lot of the parts had to be replaced, and they just weren't the parts that were supposed to be on that bike, so we're going to have to order some new stuff to make it work. It's whatever. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I'm a little concerned about money right now, so I'm venturing out for some more side work. One way or another, I'll get it taken care of like I always have. I've always gotten it taken care of. Sorry, it's been a long day. So, anyway, if you're feeling down, look at yourself and say, okay, what might I be doing wrong that could be getting in the way? And then do better.